right. How's it going, Leonard?
Hey, it's going great. What about you?
Good, man. I'm excited. I've been looking for toward this one because you you're someone who also like has gone crazy. I mean, I feel like at this point, like the amount of people that we have in our community that we're supporting and everything, it's like everyone who comes in, it's like they go so fast. I was just talking literally an hour ago with someone in Africa who bought TT, and literally he was telling me that his first day of using TT, he's he feels more present, meaning like when he would get on calls because he does accounting and things like that, that he would worry about like the end of the call, but he was now more like present as in like with that customer right then and there. And then he was like his sleep was way better, like he had way more effective sleep. And also like just talking with people, he's just like more here. And that was like first day of using TT, so I was like, imagine if you use it for a year, like where that's gonna go. Think about that. So no, man, we're here. For those who are watching, like Leonard is someone who's like super teachable and someone who's been like really fun to honestly work with, like to see how you just apply yourself. And we have a tool that makes applying information so easy. So yeah, man, so for those who don't know you, you want to introduce yourself and who you are, where you're from, all that stuff.
So thank you for the nice words, Mayor. I'm Lennart from Germany, Hanover. I'm not quite sure if many people know that, but it's in the north of Germany, and I am 21 years old, and I'm studying economics. I'm a financial advisor, and I'm a day trader as well. And I like to invest in cryptocurrency as well. So that's
Nice.
about me, I'd say. And I love to do sports as well, especially
Awesome.
surfing.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I mean, nowadays many people are into that stuff. And if you could use crypto in a way to actually invest it in something that's going to help more people, then why not, right?
I did
But
that.
yeah. So I'll put your link so people can reach out to you and all that stuff as well. But yeah, so I mean, how long have you had technotutor by now?
Should be like 3.5 months now.
Yeah, since November, right?
I think
October.
October.
October. Yeah. So 3.5 months. Damn. Like for me, it took me like a year just to get to a point where I could even understand a little bit more English to like understand how the tool works. But for you, because your English also has improved in the sense of like your pronunciation and things like that.
Yeah,
And we'll get into that too. Or actually, do you want to talk about it? Like since you
sure.
got TT, right? Because we met through um
Discord.
Boris. Yeah, so
Boris,
Discord
through
group.
Boris. Yeah.
Yeah, and Boris, shout out to Boris. So he I didn't know who you were, but I knew who Boris, and then we've talked with him. He got TT, he was growing fast. And then you reached out to me, and then we got on the call. And then you had talked to Mitchell previously about Technite, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
then yeah, and then we talked, and it's like it made sense for you, and then you got it. So you want to talk a little bit about your process of getting it, and then what are some of the results you've seen so far?
All right. So I've been listening to Kevin Trudeau a lot. And through that, I found a group on Discord through Boris as well. Shout out Boris. And then I hopped on a call with Mitchell and he told me about technotutor. I was really flashed at the beginning and wanted to get it, but I had some interferences with my parents. So I was like putting it aside for a moment. And but I was pretty sure I would get it like a couple months after. So in the end, I bought it a couple months after, and I was always putting it aside. But then Boris told me like he got it, and I was like, man, he got it before me. But initially, I told him about it, and he said it was good and all that kind of stuff. I thought like, if he got it before me,
Yeah.
I need to get it now.
Oh
I take
damn.
action, and in
Yeah.
the end, I would have, I should have got it like right in the beginning when I talked to Mitchell, but um, yeah, I didn't do it. But for everyone who's thinking about getting it, I would get it as soon as possible, because if I would have gotten it like 3 months earlier, the results would have been quite different now as well. To be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. So I remember, so some of the main points for you we were talking about is like like you had like I don't know if you want to call it like emotional trauma, but like in the sense of like you had a lot of fears, things like that. So you want to talk a little bit about that and like how that's helped you?
Yeah, sure, I do that. So I had a pretty nice childhood, to be honest. I didn't have anything like really to be afraid of or something, but still, through patterns I had from my parents or in general from my environment or in school, the system, etc. I developed some fears within myself, like stupid fears, even like because of some movies or something. Because I
Yeah.
remember always being afraid to go in my basement, just
I've
nonsense.
seen those movies, yeah.
Yeah, so I just felt this feeling in the stomach, or just being out in the dark alone at night. But I knew it was irrational. But I could never really convince myself to not fear that. But what technotutor did to me was like it put the information, I'd say, I acquired into the unconscious, because I was always only thinking in my conscious mind, which makes should I go deeper into that, or
Yeah, go as
oh,
deep as you
yeah,
want, bro.
all right,
Yeah.
all right. So we have the conscious brain, conscious mind, sorry, which makes up like about 0.5% of what we do and what we think. And then we have the subconscious mind, which is 24.5%. Then we have the unconscious mind, which is 75%. And all the stuff you learn from 0 to 7, where you have your natural learning ability, it gets right into the unconscious. And so you're kind of programmed with the things you experience during that time. And I must have experienced some situations where I developed some fears.
Mhm.
And therefore, I acted unconsciously out of fear very often.
That actually is
And
a good point of like, even if you have good childhood, you still have
exactly,
the fears. Yeah. Keep going. Yeah.
exactly. Because I had a wonderful childhood, nothing bad happened really, but still everyone has these kind of fears, and I had lots of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I always felt this feeling in my stomach. And now, after using technotutor and getting to know more vocabulary and working through my fears, doing self-forgiveness and applying all the material, and I won't go too deep into that. For people that are interested, they can reach out to you or me.
Yeah.
But since working with the tools, and like I just walked in the dark a couple months, like one and a half month ago, just alone in the dark, like nearly a forest. And before I would have been like totally afraid, would have shit my pants, just
Yeah.
nonsense. But I didn't feel anything. I just
Yeah.
felt present, to be honest. I just felt more aware of everything, and I was thinking rational, and I was kind of able to choose my thoughts and not be a slave to my thoughts.
That's
And
crazy.
that goes for all the fears, or most of the fears I have. I still have to work through some fears, but the main fears I experienced like nearly every day, they are pretty much gone, or just like tiny. No, and that's just
Yeah.
like one of the best results I got. And
Man.
that is
Yeah.
also something that has helped me tremendously within my trading. Like, to be honest, after I think I got technical on a Friday, and Monday or Tuesday I started to trade again, because I'm a trader, as I mentioned. And
Yeah.
this was the first profitable week since 3 months, I'd say. And then I had a profitable month. So this was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and
So
I
like not
just
only you
learned,
did it once, but over and over, right?
yeah, yeah, was
Damn.
continuous, like consistently profitable.
Yeah.
Uh, that is something I was struggling with a lot, which comes also down to fears. That's why I think it was a good explanation before to get into the fear part, because
Mhm.
if you have fear, you're acting out of emotion and you're reacting to things. And you're doing that in every area of your life. Like
Yeah.
when you're with friends, when you're in business, like everything you do, if you're acting emotional, you're not rational. You won't make the right decision because like the goal is to make the right and best decisions for me and every other individual in the world.
Yeah, and that's a good point because I remember many people, you may have heard this, it's like another way of saying fear. If you like break it down each letter, it's like false evidence appearing real, which is your mind is so good at making things seem like it's real to you, right? But then it's you go and do it, it's not actually it is. Because like Leonard says, so we have the conscious mind, then you have the subconscious. So sub means under, so it's right under conscious. So it's like you still, it's the level where like, you know, when someone comes in the door, it's like you feel good or you feel happy or you were like, ah, oh, why did this guy walk in? Like I hate that guy, whatever feeling. You know, you feel that way, you're conscious of that, but it's like you don't know why that feeling is coming up, right? So that would be your subconscious. And then unconscious is like is like unknown, not many people don't even know about it, right? Which that's a huge problem because it's like, how do you, many people in self-development that are working on themselves, it's like, how can you really work on yourself if you don't even know what are your traumas and like past experiences, right? So, yeah, right. And so,
Yeah,
do you have anything to share on that point of for how like technotutor it makes it so, because like we don't remember the first, I mean I don't remember the first 7 years of my life, everything that happened, or before TT, now I do, but for you, like did you know every single thing that happened in your first 7 years of your lives, right?
definitely not.
Right,
But like,
so go ahead.
all right, so one thing I want to mention, like I try to do everything with affirmations at
Yeah,
first, but that way, like this gets only into the subconscious if you do spaced repetition and not into the unconscious. And moreover, you still have that like negative ball of energy, like KT is always saying, but you first have to remove it. Because like
yeah,
if you imagine if you have weeds all over your in your garden or something, you want to plant
yeah,
anything, something, you first have to pull out them weeds.
yeah.
Like, and
I,
if I didn't realize that I had to do the same. Was just doing the positive affirmations, but I was never
yeah,
really focusing on working on myself and removing the garbage I had in myself. So I
yeah,
remember a guy which I really looked up to the last year, I'd say. He always said like if we want to learn about ourselves, we have to write. And I never took that seriously until using technotutor and getting to know all the tools. And I can say it helped me tremendously.
yeah. And that's really cool because I have a good example of that point of we have this negative stuff, but we try to keep putting positive. And the affirmation point, it's like, imagine if you're a computer developer, right? And it's like you develop this program and it has, now you run it for the first time and it's like you see it has all these errors, right? But imagine instead of going back and taking the line of code that's giving the error and then replacing it with something, imagine you don't, because no one taught us how to read, like the line of code would be our experiences, our emotions, things like that, because no one taught us how to actually effectively like see what that point is for us, right? To like actually break it down and be like, okay, that's the problem, so let me take that out and then replace it with something else and let's try that one, see how that works, right? But it's like for us, because we don't even see that that's there, we keep putting more and more and more on top of it and we're wondering why it's not working, because it's like that code, you never remove that right? And so the point with um affirmations, a good example is like what people don't understand is, so when you're a baby between the age of 0 and 7, we have something that, well, we have, all of us have it, called natural learning ability, but it's most open in the first 7 years, right, of our lives. And what that is basically how you learn how to walk, talk, crawl, all of that stuff, and basically download information from your environment. So if your environment, your parents are fighting, that's automatically going in there of like, in the future, you never know that you maybe won't even get into a relationship because you're like, I don't want to go through that. Like, that sucks. Like, I'm seeing what it's doing. Why should I put myself through that? Or let's say they put you in front of Disney, and then in Disney, you see that the princess is like in a basement, chained up, right? And literally a slave in the basement. But then the richest person in the movie, it's like, who owns the castle and everything, is like the most asshole person. It's like the most evil person, right? And they look evil, but it's like, so unconsciously the kid is being programmed of like, oh, I don't want to become wealthy because that I don't want to be like that guy. I want to be like the princess. But what people don't realize is like, you the money, not just making money, it's based on what are your principles that you have of how you spend that money. Because even though you probably hate money and you're like, oh, rich people are assholes, this and that, then why do you go to a job for 8, 10, 12 hours for the money that you say it's evil? Like, do you see the common sense there? But so that natural learning ability that's open, that's how we learn our name, things like that, right? Basically, through that being open, and then also spaced repetition of someone repeating our name like a few times over and over in a short amount of time, that's how it actually goes into our brain. Because when we're children, we don't have a mind, we don't overthink. Like, imagine if you were a kid and like you see your parents walking and you're like sitting there like 10 months old, you're like, should I even try that? Like, what if I fail? What if I fall down? Like, I'm afraid of like failing. Then you'll never learn how to walk. You see?
Yeah.
But then when you grow up, it's like the mind develops and it's like you keep overthinking things now, right? But then what people don't understand is that natural learning ability and the spaced repetition, that actually you learn a language, you learn all this stuff. But then because people don't know about it, they're like, let's say now you're past 7 and that part is like basically closed now, where you can't get anything to your brain anymore, right? It's like now there's this like storm going around your head, and it's like nothing can get through that storm to go to your brain. And people think, oh, affirmation must be the key, must be the secret, right? But like, from your experience, do you think that that's the secret? Right?
No, obviously not. So it helped a little bit, I'd say, but definitely not the amount I expected it to help. And
Yeah.
then
What do you
after,
mean by get into that? Because like, you just go over it because you've been using it 3.5 months. But like, talk about some of the results, like major results that you've seen, and also minor results. Like, go into it, right?
all right. So as I mentioned in my trading area, it helped me like after a couple of days. I was really focused on trading, but then I really realized like, because initially I only got it because of trading, but then I got involved with the group more and saw the bigger vision, the bigger picture, got a sales job. I get deeper into that one as well.
Yeah.
So my vision expanded and I realized like, even for trading and for every aspect in my life, relationship, friends, family, business, in general, well-being, I realized even to become financially stable, I had to become emotionally stable. I always really like knew that consciously, but I never experienced that on an unconscious level. And everyone like in my industry was always talking about, you have to control your emotions, you have to be emotionally stable, but I never really actually took that serious. But I thought I did, but then didn't. And
Yeah.
then I realized like I have to put trading to the side for a while and work on myself. So I really worked on myself with all the tools we have, and that helped me tremendously. And that's also like going into the fear part as well, we have been talking about earlier. And also in general, I was able to take more action and think more rational, communicate more effectively. And I noticed like sometimes when someone is accusing me of something, I don't feel triggered. I used to feel very triggered before. I used to get aggressive sometimes.
Mhm.
Like I could put that aside through meditation for like a while, but I realized that was also like more like a suppression instead of a real solution. So with
Yeah.
technotutor, I found the solution to become more emotionally stable, and I don't feel triggered that often anymore. I still have to work a lot on myself, but
Yeah.
like it's a very big difference to before. I'm just like standing there and thinking about what the person is talking about, and I'm not reacting.
Yeah.
I'm listening more,
And I
and
remember
that's
you used to talk about, you used to do meditation and all that stuff in the like before you got TT. So like you could after talk about like how does that change? Because I haven't asked you like have you been doing meditation all that? Okay.
so like in the beginning I still did it, but I really didn't do that often anymore. Like sometimes when I feel like I need a little bit of energy and I just need a little bit rest and relaxation, I still do it, but not for the same purpose. It was very, very spiritual before, but I realized that I should be present in the physical reality more than trying to escape that reality. Of course, I still like some principles in spirituality, but let's not go too deep into that. But I still
Okay.
do like breathing techniques, like DMT breathing, Wim Hof. Quite sure if you're familiar with that. Just
Mhm.
like in the morning, more energy, and it's good for the lungs. But I
Okay.
don't practice meditation that often, and I don't really need it that much anymore
That's
because I'm
interesting.
more emotionally stable. And as I mentioned, I'm
Yeah.
really working on myself instead of suppressing something and escaping the physical reality, trying to be
Yeah.
present.
That's funny. Cause like back then, meditation and affirmation was huge for you. It's like it was like the only thing you were doing. And
Yeah.
now and you were talking about the affirmations point and I gave that example, right? So it's like now basically you see how with using technotutor you become more emotionally stable, so you're like, oh, the whole point of meditation was to do that, but instead of doing it for how long were you doing it, like 20-30 minutes or something, or 40 minutes, I don't know, some people meditate for
Not that
hours,
long.
dude.
Oh, you mean meditation? So I meditated for like 15 to 30 minutes, I'd say.
Okay.
It depended on
Yeah.
how much time I wanted to spend. And I did affirmations every morning, every evening, like every morning, evening sometimes for like
Yeah.
10 minutes. But I
Okay.
realized like through Technotutor, I just have to put these affirmations in one time. And of course, I
Yeah.
have to work through the vocabulary I do not know. But
Mhm.
after doing that, I don't have to integrate again.
Yeah.
And I realized like these affirmations I had that wasn't even enough. Like there are so many points I had to work on myself. Like this is huge actually, and I just like I had a couple pages for me affirmations,
Yeah.
which is still a lot, but I realized I had to go really really deep, and that helped me tremendously. I also
Mhm.
realized like I was able to take more action and be better at decision making. So I was involved with a sales job, like in the financial industry. As I mentioned, I'm a financial advisor now since June, I think, 2021. And I always did some workshops there, met some people there. It was cool, but I was always really unsure of what I should do, if I should start working there or not. But then also the community helped me to get me to take action, and also my ability to make better and more effective decisions helped me to get into that and get out of my comfort zone, because this was also a big fear to cold call people and to sell people in general, as you mentioned before, like in the Disney movies. You get all these programs
Mhm.
which you aren't even aware of. You just have fears, but you don't know why. You have to go
Yeah.
deep into that.
Yeah.
And that's helped me a lot. And so getting out of my comfort zone, and as well as I wanted to mention earlier, like expanding my vision in general as well, like seeing more than just like doing all this, not just for myself, but to improve the whole world and be able to influence people way better. Because, like, I learn how to sell now, but in general, everything you do is selling. If you have an opinion about something and you want someone else to have that opinion as well, you have to be able to sell it to them.
Yeah.
And that is very important, I think, in today's society as well.
For sure.
And I was always struggling with that, and I'm getting better and better at it.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
now as you were talking, this question came to my mind that I don't think I've asked you yet. So now that you've been using for 3.5 months of TT and like you see how much you've grown, your goals, purpose, all of that has changed. Where do you see yourself in like 5 years from now? Like where did you see yourself beforehand? And where do you see that things are different now? I know I'm putting you on the spot because you're like, oh, hold on, give me a minute. But
No, it was
how
like,
would you
oh
answer?
damn. So
Yeah.
I'll go into what I did before so I can just like wait. I had this. Can you see that this dream board?
Yeah. I can also see
Oh, it's
myself. There you
just
go. Yeah.
like to be honest, I still want to have a nice house and stuff like that, but I was kind of very materialistic and didn't really realize it. And like I had big goals, but the problem was like it felt real to me, kinda, but only like I'd say consciously and not unconsciously. And I was always like not having the right step in front of me. And so I did trading and all that kind of stuff. I knew what I wanted to do, kind of. I had a plan, but now it's like so much clearer when I want to make a decision. I'm present and I'm clear in my head and I know what I have to do. Like I'm so much more certain when I do something. I do everything with conviction now. Like not everything, but lots of things. And
Mhm.
that is such a great thing now. So I can always see the next logical step I have to do. Of course, I still have to work on myself, but like in 5 years, man,
Yeah.
I will do big business. So like my plan is to um, become a professional trader
Okay.
and like see it as an income stream, get into the investing world a little bit more and build a huge portfolio and of course also in selling, like being able to communicate effectively and sell people and acquire more information in the financial sector where I'm working in, connecting all of that and using all the skills I've acquired to be able to sell technotutor in the future as well and help people through that and
Okay.
maybe even do some YouTube, give seminars, but I want to teach people because I really love people and I really
Yeah.
love to teach people. So I'm also like planning to build my own community as well and grow an own team. Like, and
How
I
about
would,
your relationships with like let's say romantic relationship with people? Where do you see that?
so it's way better sometimes and I'm more clear on if a person I'm involved with is a like kind of a right person like a person I should have more contact with or not. I noticed that pretty quickly now, and I'm not wasting my time with people that do not benefit me and that I do not benefit maybe. So
Yeah.
I cut some people out because I was really deep in the trading industry. I was working with them,
Mhm.
and I would always hop on calls with people that had just had any questions, which I did, and it was good. Of course, still do that, but I realized like I have to work on myself as well to be able to help more people. Like so, I'm reaching out to people that are above me more. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I try to
Yeah.
learn more from people and become more teachable. And so I'm getting off the topic. So in
No,
general,
you're
for
good. Yeah.
the relationship between me, Boris, like and Scott, shout out Scott as well,
Yeah.
like because of the same vision we have now and this similar goals, we're all doing a sales job now, like we have the same opinions about nearly everything and like the relationship got very strong. Like before we were very strong as well, but now like it's way better and also like to be honest with my family, it's pretty difficult because I'm evolving like and sometimes I feel a little bit limited, like a butterfly in its cocoon. I want to
Yeah.
evolve and become the butterfly, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the plan is to get you to like get your own place, everything like within a few months. Like for
That's
sure.
my
Like
plan.
that's another thing. Cause like you see like the average person is programmed to be with their parents until they're like 30 years old or like very old, right? But the fact that like you're thinking about that stuff now and realizing like I want to grow out of this, that's huge, right? Because before, I remember when we first started talking, it's like I was like, what are your goals? You were like, you know, that image that most people who do trading have of like being on a beach and like doing that. And I'm like, okay, let's say you have that. What else now? And it's like, you didn't have anything else. And I was like, what? You know? But so the fact that now you're talking about more and more stuff, it's really cool, right? Because again, you're only 21. For God's sake, I'm only 22. But like, look at the way we're seeing things. It's crazy. So no, it's bro. We gotta do another one like in a year from now like I'm making these testimonials so also people see how much we're going. So imagine a year where you fly down here, I fly down to Germany, wherever, and it's like we make one in person. It's like people can really see the difference, right? So no, I appreciate it. So I mean, to like basically wrap things up, it's like, what would you say to the person who what would you say to the person who was like where you were before TT, of like the person had fears towards like taking action or procrastinating and like things like that, and even maybe they know about technotutor or maybe they don't, they hear it, they're like, it sounds interesting, but they're like, I don't know, I've never reached out to anyone before, I'm not, because I never was the type of person to talk to a stranger online, right? So it's like, what would you say to someone like that, of like that is in that situation? What would you say?
So for the person, like for like to put it in general, like everyone should be more teachable and try it out and maybe get to know the material more and listen to the podcast, watch your videos, and get to know everything better. And then they have a clear picture of that and know how great it is, what we are doing, and what purpose we have, what vision we have, what we want to change, how many people we want to help, how many lives we want to improve.
Mhm.
And so I'd say reach out to someone, because what do you have to lose? Honestly, like hopping on a call with someone, like what do you expect? Like, do you expect to become successful if you're afraid of hopping on a call with a stranger online?
Yeah.
So I'd say just take action. Take action on that.
Cool. That's good. Because I say stranger, but it's like if the person watched it this far, it's like they pretty much have seen me and you how we talk. Because I like promise, like the way, because I know most people, the way they are online is not how they are offline.
Yeah.
But it's like we're like the same. It's like even if you shut this camera, it's like I'm not gonna change. I'm like the same person. Like you saw during this call, it's like there was a point where we were like, you got interrupted. We lost the thought track, and we were like where we were. But it's like, imagine if it was the normal YouTuber, whatever, they'd be like, oh fuck, like we gotta redo this. But I'm like, who cares? Like we're human. Like we make mistakes, and
Of
that's
course.
why most people relate to us, right? So if you resonated with Leonard, me, and you want to know more about what we're doing and the vision that we're creating, all of that, right? And want to also learn about the tools of how we're supporting each other to become really effective, to be able to have bigger impacts, then reach out. I'll put all the links in the description of um, where you could reach out to us. Leonard, where do you want people to reach out? Your Facebook, or what do you have? What do you
Yeah,
prefer?
Facebook sounds good.
Facebook? Okay. And your Facebook is just your name, I'm assuming, Leonard Clark.
Yeah, yeah, actually
Okay.
it is.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. I'll put it in the chat anyway. So yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, Leonard. And thanks everyone for
No
watching. And
worries.
yeah. And if they haven't, you want to tell them to subscribe, because I mean, look at the content. It's just getting better and
Definitely
better, right?
subscribe. So
No,
much
no
value
force, right?
you
No
give
force.
me.
No. So you put
I
a
got
gun
so
on them.
much value
No
from
force,
you.
no force. Just no. But I appreciate it, man. And we'll see everyone in the next one. All right.